Local thoroughbred owners Tim and Sue Spooner very much enjoy their horses and racing. For them, it's become a lot more than having a horse in the 5th race on a Saturday. It's also handicapping and breeding, traveling, socializing, studying and wagering, contributing to the cause, and more. Sounds like a full-time activity? Not so fast. They reside in Thurston County, where they own and operate Spooner Farms, one of the largest berry growing operations in the state.
It started out with my dad, Ken Spooner, and he started growing plants in '56, and we at first was a nursery. And then we went from a nursery, which we still are, and the nursery part I'm in partners with my brother. And then on the strawberry end, we do it separate, and me and my wife, Sue here, does the strawberries together.
When we first got married in 1980, he was farming, raising these plants with his dad and his brother, but he wasn't selling any berries. So that's when we got started putting in a few acres of some strawberry plants. And I went into Lacey and would sell my strawberries out of the Jeep, out of my little utility trailer, and I saw within about an hour they'd be sold out. So next year I said, you know, we need to build a stand so that when I'm sold out, people knew I was here. So then we had a guy build one stand for us, and anyway, and after that, then we just started opening up other stands, and then other towns were coming to us and saying, hey, would you sell berries in our town? We've got 220 acres that we own, but then what we did is we wanted a place to start a U-pick also. So we went further down on the Elm Highway, and in 1984 we leased a 50-acre piece from some really nice people. Anyway, and we've been there all these years since, so with our U-pick, and that's where our main berry stand is at that location. If you asked him, he would put up a few more stands, because people still call from Bremerton and Issaquah and Bellevue, and I'm to the point to where I just say bigger isn't always better. The strawberries that we pick that day, we want sold that day. So that way, so when we start picking at 5 o'clock, all the stands are open by 9:30, and that way those people know that those berries that they're buying that day, 100% of the time were picked the same day.
Sue does the majority of the work when the summer there, and that's why a lot of times she doesn't make it to the track, because she's taking care of the berries, and it's a real lot of work.
Tim had an interest in the races and handicapping from the first time he went to the track in high school. After marriage and expanding the business, Sue realized some time away from the fields was needed.
Tim's dad, wonderful man, but all he had in his life was the farm, and he had a lot of health problems. And I could see Tim, because Tim had worked side by side with his dad since he was a kid, and I could see Tim was going to follow in the exact same path of his father. And he was just going to have just farm. And I can see that the stress of farming, if you don't have another outlet, was just going to take a toll on him. So that's when I decided to get into the horses, is I thought this will be a good diversion. Because if things are going bad on the farm, I can say, hey, our trainer just called and our horse is in Saturday. He instantly forgets about the farm, and we just talk about the horse. We can look up the farm, and I think that's what kept him healthy all these years.
We have a great time together doing this, and so if you got your wife or husband that's instead of going to the bars or something, you got an interest like that, that makes it like 3 times more fun, because you got each other, and that's one thing that helps, having something that you really enjoy doing together.
Success as owners came with their Thurston County-based trainers Richard Vanderhoof and Valerie Lund. When Emerald Downs opened in 1996, Dan Markle became their trainer.
Dan is an incredible horseman. He's got a lot of patience. We always laugh, maybe too much patience, but he does a good job with the horses, and he's very dedicated. You know, he's at the barn early every single morning, 7 days a week. I mean, that's his life, and that works for us. We work together with Dan. Dan always throws me the new condition book and said, go through it and mark it, and then we sit down together, and usually we're pretty close on where we want to run them. And for us, that's important, because we want to have an involvement, and Dan's great. He'll call us 2 or 3 times a day, let us know how the horses are doing, and that means a lot to us.
The Spooners found that claiming was a way to get a fit runner ready to race right away.
We started listening to the trainer a little bit, everybody does, thinking that, you know, that's the way to go. And then with Sue doing the training with Val, helped out immensely. She's up the track and she watched horses and got to know how horses ran. And then with my handicapping and her handicapping, she handicaps real well, we started saying to ourselves, if we're going to claim a horse and we're going to kick out that kind of money, we might as well just live or die by the sword, we call it, so to speak. So we says, if we're going to make a mistake and claim a horse, it's going to be us. And there's nobody to blame but ourselves. So we felt a lot more comfortable doing that.
We learned quickly that you don't claim a horse on the drop. We like horses that are going up. But typically if you do that, then they kind of are what they are. It's a bigger gamble to claim a horse first time out or maybe with one start. But I think you have an advantage of maybe getting a better horse.